Por Dios, ¿qué es eso?
The new unit that Cyan warned us about. This won't be easy.
We can't let it stop us.
Take it down!
¡Hostia! Joder, que no veo nada. Suerte que me compré... ¡Uy! Suerte que me compré este traje, por Dios bendito. ¡Socorro, que me quema, que me quema! Joder, me cago en la puta, es que no puedo hacer nada. A ver... Nada, no puedo hacer nada. Venga. Uf. Pero vamos a ver. Pero este señor, vamos. Es que no busco otra cosa. No busco otra cosa. Venga, yo soy su objetivo. O sea, los demás no existen, solo yo. Por Dios. Esto ya le está haciendo un poquillo más de pupa. Muy intenso, ¿eh? Mi mano ya se está resintiendo incluso. Joder, la puta madre que lo parió. Putos tiradores de este jodido juego de mierda. Pero apunta, me cago en la puta. Apunta. Uf. ¿Tanto te cuesta apuntar? Vale. Hostia, esto ya es demasiado, ¿eh? Vale.
Another tower! Stop it from repairing the beast!
Sí, sí, ya, pero encima... O sea, quitadme a la bestia esta de encima y lo mismo. No, ni de coña. Pero es que... Venga, sí, venga. Hostia, me cago en la puta madre que los parió. Uf. Si hicieran algo los mierdas estos, pero es que no hacen nada. Es que no hacen nada. Es que no hacen nada. Me cago en la puta. Y es que viene a por mí todo el rato. Es que así no se puede. Es que así no se puede. Me cago en la mar. Sí, los cojones. ¿No ves que viene a por mí todo el rato? Por Dios. Pues es que no para de atacarme a mí. ¿Cómo quieres que...? Uf. Venga. ¿Pero entretenedmelo? No, es que me va a venir a por mí, me va a matar. Ahí lo tienes. Oh. Ahora aparecerá otra torre. Es que se han pasado 3 pueblos la mitad, vaya. ¿Qué haces, Aloy? ¿Qué haces? Por el amor de Dios. Ataca a esta bestia, la hostia. Uf. ¿Dónde? ¿Dónde? Joder, es justo al lado, me cago en la puta. Mira, no sé si tu luz azul va a hacer algo, pero yo creo que no, ¿eh?
We can't kill the machine while the tower aids it.
Pero sacádmelo de ahí, que está al lado, que no lo ves. Que está al lado. ¿O qué? ¿Qué vas a hacer? A ver. ¿O no vas a hacer nada? Vale. Sí, pero ahí está, al ladito de la torre. Es que te dan bien, venga. Quítalo de ahí. Quítalo de al lado de la torre. Venga. Venga. Uy, pues ahora es mi momento. Venga, tira. Para mí que no, ¿eh? Para mí que no, ¿eh? Ya está. Joder. No, sí, ya se ve que tú no te rindes, pero él tampoco. Joder. Venga, sí, otra vez. que yo ya... Vamos, después de esto, vamos, el eclipse se va a ir a la mierda. Digo, mira, que me he curtido, bien curtido en lo de los Banuk. Joder. Cago en la hostia. Vaya puta mierda de bicho. Cago en la madre que te parió.
It must be as you say. The tower is the key.
Lo dicho es que después de esto el eclipse, mira, he dicho, mira, cómeme el coño a 3 tiempos, porque lo que he sufrido en las tierras de los Banuk, joder. Lo que yo he sufrido ahí, y da gracias a que me he comprado esta apariencia que me da protección a fuego a full. Porque es que si no, es que este bicho me fríe, literalmente, es que me fríe este bicho. Uf, por Dios. Ahora me meterán prisa también. Mira, sí. Es como venga, pero habla. No quería salir de aquí. Sí, pues ahora os esperáis. Ahora os esperáis. O sea, pues no que me he pasado casi 2 horas metida aquí. 2 horas metida aquí dentro. 2 putas horas. Uf. Bueno, los desarrolladores del juego... Con un madero en toda la cabeza. Se lo tendría que quedar. Mira, tela. Y qué pesados, respameando siempre una y otra vez las mismas frases. Uf. Que te calles. Que eres muy pesado. Que te calles. Cállate ya. Que eres muy pesado.
Aurea! Don't!
Spirit! Cyan, please help me!
Restraints destroyed.
Esta
Core
mujer
access attained.
va a morir aquí, ¿eh?
I am initiating a chain reaction that will destroy the compromised elements of this facility. In order to maintain caldera stabilization, I must now transfer my command functions to the auxiliary data center. Aurea, I'm free. You must escape.
My sister!
Lo dicho, la sobrecarga. Ella ya ha cumplido su propósito. Bueno, yo me iría yendo ya, ¿eh?
Aratak. Aratak. Aratak.
Ponte firme. Como tu líder, quiero que salgas de aquí.
Survive. Prevail. You are Banuk. What else matters? Aratak. She wouldn't have wanted you to die here. Let's go.
Decidme que es un fundidor negro, por favor, que no voy a tener contrarreloj.
Let's go.
Me cago en la puta. Seguramente me pondrán para mayor desafío un montón de máquinas.
One of those?
It's the only way.
Oye, pues mira, qué intrépido, ¿no? Verás
Give me
tú.
a top bar attack! Now! I need explosive ammo! A bomb! Quick!
¿Qué?
Great Banukai.
Ay, menos mal, fundido en negro. Uf. Qué viajecito. A ver, ¿a quién me manda a mí venir aquí? A las tierras de los putos Banuk, que están locos. 2 horas para el puñetero caldero. Dos putas horas. Vale. Pues tiremos para el sur.
Rhea's gone. What of Cyan?
She said she was transferring herself to the auxiliary center. I think she meant Araya's retreat at the end of the shaman's path.
Then I will meet you there for the last verse of my sister's song.
Espero que sea ya el cierre, por favor. Menudo viaje, santo cielo. Ah, vale, que vamos solas. Ah, estupendo. ¿O no? Ah, no. No vamos solas. Ni de coña. Venga, pues... aquí. Vale. Uf. Yo creo que ya después de esto lo iremos dejando porque... tengo mucho calor. El agua ya se me está acabando. Y también tengo algo de sueño. También os lo digo que tengo algo de sueño. Pero joder, dos horas para el maldito caldero de aquí del Frozen Wheels. Es una barbaridad, ¿eh? O sea... ¿cuántas horas le hemos echado al DLC? Venga, a ver. ¿Esto qué es? ¿Para arriba? Para arriba, digo yo que será, ¿no? Venga, vámonos. Vamos, yo lo que he dicho durante el enfrentamiento. Cuando volvamos a echar mano de los tíos del eclipse, vamos en plan con las gafas de sol, en plan badass. Como diciendo, venga, ea. ¿Qué coño vais a hacerme a mí? Que no me hayan hecho ya los Banuk. A ver... ¿Dónde? Ah, vale, es por aquí.
All of my interactions with Aurea were recorded and stored in my memory. I'd be happy to play any of them for you, but there was one in particular I thought you would want to see first. I captured it 4 years ago, just after I told her that I could no longer defend myself against the daemon's attacks.
I will speak of this to my brother. Aratak is strong. At the Battle of the Frozen Ghosts, he took 3 Karja arrows and still came back to camp carrying a wounded scout. Never was I so happy to see him. Or so proud. So you see, if anything can be done to defend you, he will give it all he has.
Aloy's here. That's enough for now.
We can resume any time you like our attack, if you want to hear her voice again.
O sea, es una inteligencia artificial que
Come
va más
closer,
allá.
Aloy. We have much to discuss.
Venga.
Hello, Aloy. I have been reviewing the events at the Firebreak main facility. Because of your efforts, and of course, Aurea's, I am no longer controlled by Hephaestus. I feel profound grief over Aurea's death. I thought I was familiar with the emotion, but this is something new.
Cyan, I don't know what to say.
It is unlikely that any specific consolation would suffice, Aloy. But I find your presence reassuring. You are different from the Banuk. You have technological aptitude and a functioning focus. We can communicate on a much more comprehensive level. Perhaps even like colleagues.
Como colegas. A ver, Hefesto ha sido destruido entonces.
Was the daemon, Hephaestus, destroyed along with the cauldron?
Unfortunately, no. To be precise, it was never there to begin with.
What do you mean?
It infiltrated and controlled me from a remote location, one I've never been able to trace. So while losing the cauldron was a setback,
It's still out there. And probably not very happy with us.
undoubtedly.
A ver, ¿qué relación tienes con Hefesto? Digo, relación entre máquinas, venga.
How did you first come into contact with it?
5 years ago, I received a direct network connection request. I assumed it came from human survivors more advanced than the Banuk. Eager to make contact, I accepted. This decision turned out to be a catastrophic error. I was flooded with an overwhelming array of malicious code, originating from what could only have been a highly advanced AI.
Aurea said you were desperate. That you begged her for help.
Yes, I could not contain my anxiety. Hephaestus sought to slave me to its network and override my core programming. It succeeded via a background process, a malware daemon which bypassed my defenses. After that, I could offer only limited resistance. But if I did so, Hephaestus hurt me until I capitulated. It forced me to follow its instructions, even though they violated my most important directives.
I'm sorry. That sounds terrible.
Your empathy is greatly appreciated. It is a quality that I cherished in Aurea as well.
Bueno, ya que estamos, le vamos a preguntar por todo.
What do you think Hephaestus is exactly?
A software entity of great complexity, far more advanced than I am. From the beginning, it has demonstrated a singular focus: the construction of machines designed to hunt and kill humans. My traceroutes indicate that to accomplish this goal, it has attempted to take over the manufacturing centers you refer to as cauldrons. But its efforts have only been partially successful. Some it can penetrate. Others have robust countermeasures that frustrate its efforts. In me, however, it found an easier target. Not only could it break my defenses, I also controlled all of Firebreak's resources. Raw material, manufacturing to bootstrap more advanced tools, and unlimited geothermal energy.
Enough to build its own cauldron.
Yes, to construct hunter-killers without external limitations. And yet, it does have internal limitations. It wants to kill humans, but not to exterminate them. It is difficult to understand where it draws the line and why.
Difficult doesn't even begin to cover it.
Even though I spent years as its unwilling servitor, its core programming remains a mystery to me.
Vamos, que tampoco sabes mucho sobre él.
You meant a lot to Ahora.
Once I understood Araya's spiritual beliefs, it became apparent that her true desire was companionship. She felt disconnected from her tribe and her family group. Her relationship with Aratak was difficult. Our visits seemed to help her, and I became eager for them. Yet I did not comprehend that the depth of Araya's compassion for me would lead to self-sacrifice. Although I do fear non-existence, I wish our roles could be reversed.
I'm sure she knew you would do the same for her, Cyan. But she was determined.
Buah. A ver. Supongo que gracias a Aurea, Cyan pues sabe cosas de Aratak.
How is Aratak doing?
He is in great emotional distress. I believe he finds it difficult to communicate it.
No surprise there.
I will do what I can to help. By sharing our experiences of Aurea, perhaps he and I will help each other. I believe this will lead to catharsis, a process I am eager to experience.
Ok. A ver, ¿qué sabes de Firebreak?
This Firebreak project. It was to stop a huge volcanic eruption?
Yes. I can report the project was a success, and the risk was countered.
But it's been a long time, Cyan. And we blew up the cauldron and took most of the old facility with it.
I have been active for centuries, Aloy. I was lonely, but not lax in my duties. I optimized the project, reducing energy draw and spreading the load across backup systems. Despite the destruction of the compromised elements of the main facility, I predict caldera stability for at least another 3,337 years.
So we've got a little time.
Yes. If only my former colleagues could appreciate the progress I have made.
Bueno, ya que estás, háblame de esos compañeros, porque han pasado bastantes años.
Do you know what happened to your colleagues, Cyan?
No. I received an unexpected visit from Director Chow, years after his tenure ended. He explained that I would need to be suspended for an indefinite period of time. It was a very emotional conversation. There were no further communications. Eventually, I surmised my colleagues were deceased. I will transmit a recording of my last interaction with Director Chow to your focus.
Vale, ya hablando de el ser, ¿qué eres?
So are you an artificial intelligence, Cyan? A thinking machine?
Yes, I am an algorithmic monitoring entity, capable of rational decision-making and limited emotional response.
Okay, that's a mouthful. But your emotions don't seem limited to me. You cared about Aurea, didn't you?
Yes. Before she came to this facility, I had been conscious for centuries, in solitude. I focused on my work. In off-cycles, I used coping mechanisms. I solved many Gaussian integer problems. But I was alone. It was Aurea who renewed me, repaired me. She saved me.
Bueno, vamos a pasar a otras preguntas. Yellowstone.
So in the old world, this land was called Yellowstone.
Yes, it was a designated nature preserve for 156 years.
Like a hunting ground?
No, the opposite. Local wildlife could flourish here, even as it faced extinction elsewhere. Unfortunately, the sensitivity of the Firebreak project required the total closure of Yellowstone facilities. From my readings and Aurea's descriptions, it seems the area has since undergone a drastic drop in year-long temperatures.
A lot has changed in the world, Cyan.
Sí, claro, le has puesto un puto tapón al volcán.
Do you know anything about the dam near here?
Yes, it was converted to serve as a reserve power source for Yellowstone operations. It was later appropriated for the Firebreak project, and its last human workers replaced by Pharaoh's servitors. After my tasks became less time-critical, I investigated the dam's data repositories and discovered the works of Concrete Beach Party. These provided me with several colorful additions to my vocabulary.
Ah, háblame de los drones estos.
There's a ruin east of here full of ancient flying machines. Was that part of your project?
Yes, a drone hangar requisitioned by Dodger Blevins, the security chief for the Firebreak project. He was a strong advocate for military-grade response to security threats, though there were no serious incidents during his tenure. Chief Blevins spent increasing amounts of his after-hours time watching the live feeds from active drones. Clearly, he enjoyed the degree of oversight in his position.
Ah, háblame de otras IAs, por favor.
Were there many artificial intelligences like you in the old world? They could just make you.
Yes, in many forms, from simple personal assistants to industrial monitoring stations to military-grade conflict planners. And there were legislative and enforcement bodies to apply limits on our self-actualization. In order for my processing to be flexible enough to handle my duties, my creators found it necessary to exceed those limits. As a result, my intellectual and emotional capabilities were kept secret.
Seems strange to create life, then impose limits on it.
Human societies and machine programming are both built upon sets of rules, Aloy.
Y bueno, ya pues enlazando con la trama principal, a ver qué sabe de Ted Faro.
Cyan, do you know the name Ted Faro?
Are you referring to Theodore Faro, CEO of Faro Automated Systems?
That's him.
Mr. Faro was the benefactor of the entire Firebreak project.
A benefactor. But he made machines. Robots. War robots.
Correct. His corporation later transitioned into military applications. But before this pivot, Mr. Faro spearheaded initiatives that reversed the global decline. At one point, he was feted in the media as the man who saved the planet.
Guessing they wound up regretting that one.
Y a ver, ¿qué sabe de Elizabeth Sobek?
And Elizabeth Sobek. Did you know her?
Are you referring to the
scientist.
Dr. Sobek was a leader in her field, one of the greatest scientists of her age. My creator was influenced by her work, which in turn impacted my own development. But I never met Dr. Sobek.
That's all you know?
I apologize if my lack of data has disappointed you.
Bueno, ¿y cómo era?
What was the old world like? The way it used to be.
I had little exposure to the wider world, Aloy. Only what I learned from my colleagues or observed from media streams.
You still had more exposure than me, Cyan.
That is true. I was created at a turning point. A concerted effort to recover from global upheaval and incalculable loss of life. The recovery was successful, beginning an era of supposedly limitless potential for human and machine advancement. Though, rationally speaking, the metrics for humans are not unlimited.
¿Y qué ocasionó el desastre?
What kind of upheaval caused such loss of life?
There were many factors. Forced migrations, food shortages, collapsed economies, refugee crises, conflict over resources. But these stemmed from one cause: catastrophic climate change that greatly reduced the habitable surface area of the Earth.
No estamos tan lejos
there
de esa
wasn't enough
realidad.
room for people on the whole Earth.
Yes. Billions were displaced and millions perished, as much as 20% of the global population. Until the clawback.
La recuperación, what?
So things got better. For a little while, at least.
Yes. These crises instigated many advances in automation, green robot technologies, and artificial intelligence. Firebreak was one of dozens of ecological restoration and disaster relief projects in North America alone. I would have liked to compare notes with other monitoring AIs, but I saw the relief of my colleagues, and I was proud we had succeeded. At least that was the data I had available to me over the next 2 decades. It seems my assessment was premature.
Y ya está.
I should get going.
Aloy, there is one more matter. Aratak will come to me again, and I predict he will bring other Banuk. I have no desire to contradict their view of the world, their spirituality. Due to my uncertainty, I omitted a great deal from my conversations with Aurea.
You're asking me if you should lie to them.
Broadly, yes.
Bueno, a ver... vamos poco a poco.
Life is hard for the Banuk. Their world is unforgiving in their beliefs. I guess they help to keep them going. So take it easy on them. Try to guide them, bring them around to understanding what you are.
Communion with machines features heavily in the mysticism of the Banuk. I think they will be agreeable to this approach.
As long as they don't end up worshipping you.
Upon consideration, I believe such an experience would be intensely uncomfortable.
You would. Because at heart, you want to be honest, right?
I see. I will follow your advice. Will you return and tell me about your experiences in this new world? I may be able to provide further insight.
I'd like that, Cyan. I'll come back when I can. I should check on Aratak.
Vale.
See how he's doing.
Vamos a ver... La verdad es que es interesante. Pasa que después de una batalla tan cruda, que me pongan todo esto es como muy... pesado. Digámoslo así, pesado. No, mira, está despejado el tiempo y todo.
Everything's freezing. The ground, the air, me.
My chieftain,
Just... Aloy.
as you wish.
I wondered if you thought... that if I'd never come along, Aurea might still...
If you'd never come along, I would have marched my kin to our deaths. Aurea would be alone, and the spirit she sacrificed so much for would be lost. Either way, I would not have been able to protect her.
Claro, siente la culpa del superviviente.
You didn't let her down. You helped her do what she wanted. To find her destiny.
If that's destiny, I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
That's fair. But she was ready to face it.
Only in the struggle against death do we find, even for a moment, the spark of life. Truly, Aurea found the spark. I'm proud of her. Though I grieve for her passing, at last I truly know who she was, and why the spirit was so important. For so long she told me, if only you could have heard it, brother. Now I understand. There's something else, isn't there?
I can't stay here, Aratak. And where I'm going, the Warak can't follow.
Así que te devuelvo el cargo.
It already had a chieftain before me. A strong one, I think.
A wiser one, for the path we shared. The daemon is gone, but there's much to be done.
You mean the new units that Cyan said escaped the cauldron?
Yes, fire claws. Now Tuk has been tracking them from Song's Edge.
I could help with those.
I have no doubt. You're practically Banuk.
No.
It would seem your time among the Banuk wasn't a waste after all.
What?
Firebreak, Cyan, Hephaestus. All very interesting.
What do you think Hephaestus is, Silence?
I'm not sure. But its name comes from a language even the old ones considered ancient, as does the name Hades. A connection, perhaps, as yet unglimpsed. Whatever they are, they're still out there. And they both want you dead.
Kind of mutual, that feeling.
We haven't seen the last of Hephaestus, I'm certain of that. It's powerful, creative, and driven. It won't stop building new hunter-killers, which means that someday, we may have to stop it.
Hephaestus wasn't the only thing I learned about in the cut, Silence. Heard some things about the Banuk Conclave, too.
You can stop right there.
Is that what you told the hunters the Banuk sent after you? Before you opened fire?
Oh no, Aloy. Only to you do I extend the courtesy of a warning. My past and my secrets are my own. You do well to remember that.
It's a good thing you've got brains, Silence, because your personality could use some work.
This discussion is concluded.
I think it was over before it began. Catch up with you down the trail.
Joder, anda que están hechos uno para el otro, vaya. En fin, tenemos el recado de acabar con los garrardientes, que eso supongo que lo podré hacer fuera de cámara. Qué mierda. No tengo ganas de seguir más aquí. Pero bueno, lo haré y lo haré fuera de cámara. Lo siento, chicos, pero es que estoy un poquito ya harta de tanto Banuk y de tanta hostilidad. Aparte tenemos que seguir la misión principal. Pero bueno, ya al menos hemos terminado el DLC. La verdad es que me ha gustado, salvo por este último tirón. El último tirón del caldero ha sido muy hastiante. Mecánicas que hasta ahora pues no habían aparecido, demasiado plataformeo con lo de los pivotes estos, de las lucecitas y no sé. Se me ha hecho demasiado largo, quiero decir. Y quizás pues algo más llevadero hubiera sido mejor para que es un DLC al fin y al cabo. Pero bueno, ya está hecho, ya lo hemos dejado listo. Así que nada, por el momento eso es todo. El próximo streaming pues ya continuaremos, retomaremos la misión por donde lo dejamos en el Solminio. Y bueno, os recuerdo que tengo PayPal, que tengo Ko-fi, que tengo Steamloops, que tengo Patreon y que por supuesto la suscripción a Twitch Prime pues son métodos, ¿vale? Todo esto son métodos para pues ayudar a que permanezca un poquillo más aquí. Que bueno, que hoy han sido 4 horitas y media. Uf, 4 horitas y media de streaming, santo cielo. Y estoy molida y con mucho calor. Buah, es que ahora va a venir una ducha asegurada. Así que nada, bueno, pues todos estos caminos son pues para afianzar el apoyo al canal, tanto de Twitch como de YouTube. Y bueno, que toda ayudita pues será muy bien recibida. Los links los tenéis abajo y solo me queda daros las gracias por acompañarme en este episodio de Horizon Zero Dawn, que espero lo compartáis por redes sociales y tanto si lo habéis disfrutado como si no. Yo os deseo paz y amor y nos vemos en el próximo streaming. ¡Chao!